Today we're going to react to Asmongold's video, The Real Reason I Quit Diablo 4. I don't normally do react content, but Asmongold's an important figure in the gaming scene, and I feel that he's probably going to parallel a number of thoughts and sentiments shared by a number of you folks. I'm given to understand a number of people are quitting the game, so we'll see here. Do you folks agree with Zach here? Are you quitting for the same reasons he is? Do you feel you're being led down a path where you're going to end up quitting because of what he's saying? We'll watch and react to this together. My first response, though, is I'm sad that Zach is quitting Diablo 4, and I'm sad to see people...
I'm quitting for now, right? I'm not gonna... I don't write blank checks. Keep it in mind. Like, if what they say tomorrow seems promising, I'll come back and try it again and play again in the good faith. But they need to actually address what the problems are, and they don't address what the problems are.
Quitting in general, but let's go ahead and have a listen.
Basically, a lot of people, I guess I could like type to make
it's really tight, but let's see what he's interesting, because I feel like the gameplay, the combat of Diablo 4 is really tight, but let's see what he says.
Spectrum. Well, it's not. I mean, you look at somebody do Uber Lilith, like you get hit outside of the hitbox of the spikes all the time, and you can be directly behind the spikes, even inside of their animation. So the animation is not accurate to when they do damage. And that's the most important fight in the game, because it's the hardest fight in the game. It doesn't work. It's fluid, but not well done. Yeah. Right? And I guess, like, so I'll try to explain it, and if I... and
figuring out how to add difficulty to a game that is in a fun way, that's a challenge. It's easy to make a game difficult. It's difficult to make a difficult game fun.
Completely fucking agree. Great point. So if something is really hard, that doesn't make it fun. And if something is really easy, that also doesn't make it fun.
True.
There are things...
of D3, of just obliterating screens. A lot of people, the easy gameplay of D3, of just obliterating screens of demons, that's fun for them. Easy and hard are not subjective.
I don't think that, I feel like Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 are about the same in terms of difficulty. I don't really think that they're, like, I don't think Diablo 4 is, like, really that much harder than Diablo 3 was. Like, on release, whenever I played Diablo 3, Diablo 4 is way harder. Really? Well, then why did only Kripparrian kill Inferno Diablo on hardcore mode until they nerfed it? If Diablo 3 was so easy. There you go. Diablo 3 release was way harder. It was infinitely harder. That's way different. Oh, that's different. That's different. No, it's not. Because that was broken. And you're saying this wasn't? Diablo 4 isn't? There's a whole stat that doesn't work in Diablo 4.
Fun and unfun, though, can be. Now, there's certain parameters within what we will classify as fun that we can probably universally agree on. But when people are seeking different experiences in their games, what's fun or not fun for them tends to be very personal.
Something like I want to very
fantasy with it being equal. So if either he will or someone can elaborate on with it being easy, what makes it fun, that would be good data.
Hard, satisfying gameplay. And so I'll give you an example. I was actually watching a video yesterday, and so, this is a game, Katamari Damacy. And basically what you do in this game...
Apparently
what you do is you just roll a ball around, and you just pick up stuff, and the ball gets bigger, and you pick up more stuff with the ball. And then you pick up more and more stuff with the ball, and then you're picking up elephants with the ball. You're getting close to buildings. This is an easy game, okay? It is a very, very easy game. Like, it's hard to lose this game. However, it's fun. And the reason why it's fun is because I don't think that games are... Like, I don't think fun is the right word. I think fulfilling is the right word. And playing games that are easy but fulfilling is enjoyable and people like doing it. So I think actually fun might not be the best word, but enjoyable is. or fulfilling. But for how long? Well, how long is Diablo 4 enjoyable? Like, I mean, you can say that too, right? Like, that doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I mean, like, some people, like, only enjoyed Diablo 4 for a certain period of time as well. Like, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing isn't hard, but it's enjoyable. It's fulfilling. But it's also very fun. Okay. So, a lot of games you overcome...
When the challenge... It feels good to overcome the challenge, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And game,
Gear checks.
Like, unless you have... Like, there's not, like... you know how, like, Moog, for example...
I hate gear checks.
Like, unless you have, like, the physic, right? He just kills you, right? With the transition. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't like difficulty like that. I think that stuff is garbage. Play the game. Made kind of out of my... Getting off... How much damage... Me.
Things hitting you from off-screen. I wonder and speculate, is it possible that there was some point in development in which the camera was more zoomed out and these things killing you off-screen were not off-screen at the time, and now we're more zoomed in, and now they are off-screen?
It's still... probably, maybe, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, that could be it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, but yeah, that could be it. I think it's bad design. And like, that's part of the, again, that is, now.
People,
I'm coming from.
The thing is, though, so easy, yes. Unfun, for most people, yes. I guess it's fair to say that, gosh, it's hard, because the specific elements within what you're doing to get the renown can be fun for some people. Can be fun for...
Well, how many people do we think, like, if we were going to do a percentage, right? How many people had fun doing the side quests in Season 1? I would say less than 5%. How many people... Here's an even better way to tell whether people enjoyed them or not. How many people skipped the dialogue? I think everybody did. Or at least so many people that... Yeah, I would bet like 90% of people skip the dialogue for it.
Many people. But I think it's when you categorize it under the umbrella of needing to do these things in order to maximize your efficiency at the game.
That's what makes it not fun. Yeah, because people would probably enjoy doing the side quests on their own time, but because it's tied to power, people feel like they have to do it as quickly as possible to stay competitive.
That's what makes it unfun for a large number of people.
Yeah, he's right with this kind of stuff. By fair and play directly.
Depending on your class and your build, if you have something that rends you immune, basically, that's the only outplay that you have, right? So on a Necromancer, you pop your Blood Mist when you know that's coming in. That's only if that thing is telegraphed, right? If it's not telegraphed, you have no agency. But Necromancer has the Blood Mist to pop into to make himself immune. Not every class has equal access to these tools is part of the problem.
It is. Well, the way that you fun
point a gear check, fundamental design.
I don't think that you should have things that you need to immunity through. I think that it's insane.
Of RPGs does always have at some point a gear check, as much as I don't enjoy gear checks as some kind of parameter. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can't expect a level 1 character to be able to beat all the content in the game just based on pure skill. You could make a game that way, but that's not how these games are generally made. So there tends to be gear checks built into...
I think there's a spectrum of it. I think, like, he's right to an extent, but also at the same time, the way that most people cleared Inferno Diablo and Diablo 3 is by avoiding taking damage at all. Like, if anybody played Diablo 3 on release, the way that you would usually play it is you would build a glass cannon build and then avoid every single attack. And that's how I killed every single boss, and that's how I cleared the entire game. Also, there was like a level 26 character that was able to kill Uber Elder in Path of Exile. Now, obviously, there are some bosses that you can't do that with in Path of Exile, but I do think that's something that is, in general, I think that's a positive. Like, that is a thing that I would rather have than have, have people randomly, like, just getting gear checked constantly. And I think also it's a matter of disparity. So, like, whenever there's something that is... Like, whenever most affixes are, like, a 2 out of 10 in terms of challenge, or a 3 out of 10, and then you have certain affixes that are a 10 out of 10, I think that's also a really big problem, because it's an element of balance that's just clearly wrong. Like, it shouldn't make sense that some things are 500% harder than other things just by the nature of the way numbers are designed.
Some extent. And with skill or a good build or good decisions, you could lower the bar on the gear check. Like, you can, with less gear, you can get further. But at the end of the day, these are games designed such that with sufficient gear, you can brute force your way through, right? By that, I mean, take two players. One is super skilled, super knowledgeable about the game, and has, like, trash tier gear. And then you have someone else who's...
And keep in mind, the effect that I was talking about, I was talking specifically about an attack that automatically targets your player with a large amount of damage, and it just aimbot explosions your character, and that's it. Like, that's it. That's literally it. Like, there's no real counterplay to that. There's nothing you can do. You just get massively aimbotted with a huge amount of damage. Okay.
Terrible at the game, but they have 1,000 hours a day in order to farm up everything, and so they just have the best gear possible, but garbage to your gameplay. At some point, right, you can farm up enough gear to just...
Oh, we had Dan Clancy just raided the stream. Hi, Dan. Really good timing. I'm having a bug with Twitch. He's the CEO of Twitch, by the way. I'm having a bug where, like, my viewers go from, like, 1 to, like, the actual number. It's going back and forth. So it's actually really convenient that you managed to show up here, because, yeah, we're having this issue right now, man. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. How you doing? What's up? Yeah.
Survive the content. Like, that's just a thing that's generally built into these ARPGs. So it comes down to...
the bug is that the viewer count, this number goes from, like, the 18,000 down to, like, 1 randomly. I'm not sure why. It hasn't happened any other time besides today. I will let you know if it continues. Yeah, just happened to start today. Viewer count on the dashboard is noisy. Yeah, maybe. If it happens again, I'll pull it and show it. I'll tell someone. Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Your skill matters in I can get there before you, because you need the top tier gear.
I promise it's not just me making excuses for falling off.
I can do it in garbage gear. That tends to be where we see the line drawn in ARPGs, and arguably RPGs in general, but it's your build choices, your skill. These are what determine your ease through which you can progress with the content, or with how little time. Ease is probably the wrong word to use here. And
keep in mind, I actually did go back and I beat the capstone dungeon. I did. I beat it at the same level with the same fucking shit. I just went back and I did it again. And you know what was so fucking pathetic and funny? The fact that whenever I got to Elias, I just absolutely fucking dominated him. He got destroyed. And guess what? Didn't matter. So I could barely even get to him. See, that wasn't so bad. It was annoying.
We're clearly defining easy and hard, but we'll keep going.
Mm-hmm. It's not an enjoyable way to play the game. It's not like, I don't feel like I have achieved anything whenever I do that, because the gear that I obtained was not obtained through any level of, like, skill. And that's another thing, that, like, having capstone bosses, that drop specific special items, that's something that feels good, and it makes you feel like you've earned those items because you've killed that boss. Any level understanding of the game, like, I didn't...
That's ARPGs, though!
But it's not. And so here's the difference. So, like, for example, with Diablo 3, whenever the game came out on release, your chances of receiving a item level 63 a piece of gear, which was the highest level piece of gear, was non-existent in any mode except for Inferno. So you could not receive a item level 63 piece of gear if you weren't doing Inferno. Also, the chances of receiving those pieces of gear were much higher whenever you did harder content. Then also, if you look at Path of Exile, you have item level. So item level is another big factor that is determined by the type of content that you're doing. So for example, you're not going to get an item level 86 helmet if you're doing a yellow tier map. and item level 86 helmets just have a baseline of being more powerful and stronger just by the nature of them being a higher baseline item level. So it absolutely is something that with ARPGs, and also Path of Exile has a number of bosses that if you kill that boss, it has a oh, by the way, there's the one. Oh, yep, there it is. There's the one. I have one viewer. Who is it? Who's watching? Who is it? Yep. Yep. That's me? All right, good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I guess like it's me, it's you, and all your other bots. Yeah, okay, got it. So here's the thing, right? Is that like in PoE, if you want to get Ashes of the Stars, you have to kill Syrian Exarch. If you want to get Void Forge, you have to kill Shaper. If you want to get Watcher's Eye, you have to kill Elder. So, like, there's actually that's very much a factor. But he, like, Riker is also right in some regards because, like, for example, like, didn't somebody get a Mirror of Kalandra drop in, like, Act 6? So it's definitely possible. Like, he's right, but not entirely.
That's just the genre. I mean, it's been that way, right? That's how it was in all ARPGs. Like, the gear, most of the gear that you get, you could just farm easy content until you get it.
Well, you could farm easy content until you buy it. Gear. I just simply there's something like that, have whatever, because there's no
pinnacle.
Whereas, like, whenever
I'll say that the pinnacle challenges in games like D4 and PoE, Path of Exile for that matter, right? I think those are the things that it's not expected that the average player can achieve with sufficient time invested. But like in general, like ARPGs, it's, you know, like it or not, it's a fundamental of the genre that with enough time invested into just doing easy stuff, you generally are able to brute force your way through the content. With the asterisk,
that is true.
Being that's when you add pinnacle content that really separates out.
You could brute force the pinnacle content too, but okay. It's harder to do.
People with actual skill. PoE does an excellent job of adding this content.
This is the hard mode. It's dead. This is a 6-player one where his health is increased.
Your absurd defiance ends here, hatchling.
He's dead.
Surprises.
So, yeah, you can absolutely cheese all of those pinnacle bosses. It's even slowed down. Yes. That just isn't fun. Yes, it is, because he earned that. Aren't these examples exceptions to the rule? No, they're not. And the reason why they're not is because Riker is using, like, pinnacle content is fundamentally exceptional content. Also, every single boss in PoE, you can do this to them. Like Maven, it takes a little bit longer. Uber Elder, it takes a little bit longer. But you can one-phase every single one of these fights.
They've added it over time. I think right now Diablo just has Uber Lilith. I guess now arguably they have the Uber Varshan. Hopefully we'll see.
Let's take a look at Uber Varshan.
100, right? So this is the Uber boss or whatever. All right, let's see. Uber boss, new guy. Here we go. Oh, he's tanky as fuck. Holy shit. Never mind, he's dead.
So, and I think that's fine, by the way. It's not a big deal. It's not a bad thing. But, you know, it is what it is. You should be able to earn the ability to do that in Diablo 4. In the same way that you can do this in Elden Ring.
More of that.
Why is that not bad? Because he earned that. He earned that by being good at the game, being good at his character, being good at gearing, and playing it a lot.
Cool content added to the game. Because outside of that, like Nightmare Dungeons, just like Greater Rifts in D3, I mean, it's just the same content with numbers dialed up, right? Like, there's no fundamental difference between a Greater Rift 70 and a Greater Rift 150 in the same way that there's no fundamental difference between a Nightmare Dungeon 1 and a Nightmare Dungeon 25, 30, 40, whatever. The numbers are just dialed up. Sorry, okay, that's not true. There is a difference. Once you get to Nightmare Dungeon 20, then there's no difference.
I have a very good character in Dark Souls and I'm able to beat a boss in a certain way. It's because I have achieved mastery over that boss.
Absolutely.
Not really.
I agree with myself.
Like a level. So
I'm so right.
Like why people a number isn't phased and you
tried.
And so like
in fairness, that's not the design intent of the devs. They try to nerf those builds, but yeah, point taken.
Earned that achievement. So I can understand why people think it's okay, but the difference is that even if you're not able to do that, you can still outskill the boss.
Yeah.
Like, an insanely good player can beat Uber Lilith without a lot of gear.
That's what I love to see. That's what I love to see.
Yeah, so then we're in agreement.
But a really, really bad player can still beat Uber Lilith if they have
really good gear.
Ridiculous gear or a ridiculous build. Designed for our...
That's a good lived experiences. I feel, in general, D4 does a good job telegraphing a lot of stuff.
I think Uber Lilith, it doesn't. Like with the waves, I don't think it's well telegraphed. I also don't think that they do a good job telegraphing the on-death effects. I also don't think they do a good job telegraphing things like spider webs. Because the problem is because of the ground effects overlapping each other. That's the issue. Where, like, you have one ground effect that's overlapping another ground effect that's overlapping something else. That's really what the problem is. Necromancer's Pool on top of that, yeah.
But, yeah, there definitely are BS death mechanisms. I think that's feedback that could be put forth to the devs to alleviate. I think they already said from the campfire chat that they are looking at avoiding, or they're looking at removing some of those, right? Mm-hmm. They said that in the campfire chat last week. So the number of, like, you know, after death explosions and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I believe it when I see it. Diablo, it feels a lot worse. Whenever I think that I'm balanced, and that's why, like, how many of you guys in Diablo? Because this is like just his closing thoughts about it. Oh god.
All right, so this is actually not what I expected to be the reasons. But you can see he's obviously frustrated. And at the end of the day, I think that's probably something that a lot of people are feeling. Mm-hmm. It might not be for the same reasons exactly. I think to some degree, there's a whole Fruit of the Loom cornucopia, which it did exist. I don't Mandela me, that existed. There's a whole variety of things I think that have come together to bring people to a point of frustration. And I think some of the things that he highlighted here with regards, again, to the the BS death mechanics and resist being broken and it taking a long time for these things to be fixed. These are all like very obvious things to call out as being problematic. And I think different people have different thresholds through which they're bothered by these things. I do encourage you folks to sound up in the comments with, if you've stopped playing D4, if you feel you're going to quit D4, is it for these same reasons, or what are your frustrations, what are your complaints, what are your issues with the game that you feel are stopping you from playing anymore? In my case, I am still enjoying myself. A lot of the things that Zach highlighted here, though, I do agree are problems.
Somebody's saying, I find it hard to take him serious on his defense of the game when he's literally getting paid to talk up the game. He's not being paid to talk up the game. That's not how his relationship with Blizzard works. I've taken sponsorships by Blizzard before to do certain things. That doesn't mean that I'm paid to say anything about their stuff in the future. That's just not true. It's ridiculous.
I need to be fixed. Opinions. I do agree are things that are not as fun as they could be. Is there some degree of hyperbole in some of the arguments? Maybe, but he's frustrated, so it's understandable. On my end, I feel that some of these systems need to be changed. For instance,
somebody's saying he's trying to get paid, he's shilling for future collabs. Well, couldn't you say that about anybody who's providing any, couldn't you say that about anybody who is saying anything positive about the game ever? So so then what's the what are you doing? right? If everybody's a shield, then why are you watching anybody? I don't really understand it. Yeah, all positive views are fishing for sponsorships. Yeah, it's just crazy, man.
Like the resists, like the vulnerable being way too strong. Some of these like bigger reworks that they have to do and rebalances and stuff.
Somebody, sorry, I keep pausing because I really want to shut this down. I was referring to the fact that he has a website that the funds are directly impacted by people getting people to play and go to the site. Well, then why does Rax provide negative feedback? Do you think Rax is every single time that he provides negative feedback? Like, what do you think's going on with that? Or how about Rob? Because they both are, like, fair enough. Just stop it. Just stop trying to think that you know what people are doing. It doesn't make any sense. Like, think about what you're saying. Like, I really wish people would come to a conclusion by ruling out things that they could be wrong with, rather than trying to rule in things that they're right with. Stop it. Before you go out and type some dumb shit, think for a second, is this actually true? Let me think. In what way would this be wrong? Jesus Christ.
Some of it, my question comes down to not like why are they doing it? Like, I do believe these are good things to be addressing, but more so, why wasn't this caught earlier at some point and addressed before release? Because now that it's being addressed after release, it's causing frustration. Yeah. It's causing upset. Like, it would have been my hope that D4 releases and then all the seasons and the patches, they revolve around adding more content to the game, not having to rework some of the core game systems. Because a lot of these are things that cannot reasonably be achieved within a short amount of time. And so the longer it takes to implement these...
I mean, like, they should have been, though, right? I mean, because like they chose to release the game, and they knew that the game didn't work. Like, they knew Resistances didn't work before the game came out. But they released it anyway. And they had years to make this. And they also have, like, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, right? This isn't like an indie company that it's like 3 guys in a dream.
Changes the longer people are playing with a version of the game that is then going to change, and that's going to change their experience, and for some people that'll change that experience for the worse, even if it's better for the overall health of the game. Case in point, I expected that the reason most people would be saying they're quitting Diablo 4 now, which is what I'm seeing from a lot of YouTube comments, is people saying, well, I feel I'm weaker now, and you know that's not what I wanted, and
it's got nothing to do with that for me.
There's not enough new stuff in the season to justify this, and so I'm uninstalling for now. But again, I turn the question to you folks. Sound off in the comments with your experience on why you are no longer or still playing Diablo 4. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. Check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Riker's Raiders for more Diablo content.
I'm probably going to sit down and watch the entire thing myself, like, you know, laying in bed, and see all the other stuff he talked about. But in general, I don't think that people should be making excuses for, Resistances being broken in Diablo 4 is inexcusable. It's insane. It's absolutely insane that it's even happening. Having to refarm Renown in 10 years of development, Resistances not... Well, it's also like if Blizzard knows Resistances aren't working, then why did they put plus resist as a affix that a shield can roll? Why did that happen? You see what I'm saying? Like, it just like I'm losing my fucking mind. They knew, it's just like it just makes me so mad that this stuff happens, and I feel like a crazy person getting mad about it, because it's like people don't even see this kind of stuff. Why is one of the hearts of the season to Sork tied to Resistances? Yeah. You have beyond the money to make the gaming world better, you choose to complain. I mean, I try to highlight games that I think are good all the time, and I'll keep doing that. Resist is not broken. Even Zizrain said a long time ago that they said in an interview Resist was too complicated for casuals. So you think it was too complicated for Kriparian, who was one of the first people that started talking about... I mean, come on. I can't believe people type this shit out. It's amazing. Let me link y'all the video. We love Riker, though. As I said, I remember Riker was making Diablo 3 videos whenever I was 10 years ago. There's his channel right there. Make sure to give the video a like. How are they broken? I don't really know. I was just wondering. They don't do what they say they do, right? That's about it. With the upgraded renown value of dungeons, basically all you have to do is cap renown, is complete all the dungeons, which you'll do whenever you level anyway. Is that really worse than completing the story in PoE every season? Yes, it's a lot worse. Yes, renown is a lot worse. If I could choose between having to redo Renown and having to redo the campaign, I would choose the campaign every single time. Because the campaign is actually good curated content, and Renown is just completionism garbage that was put into the game to increase player metrics. It's pathetic. The fact that they made us redo the Renown and not the campaign. I wish you could choose.